Services testing. Benefits of services testing. GeneXus applications are strongly service-oriented, and we need to test this logic with external calls. Web services testing is a type of software testing that validates web services. Web service testing is similar to unit testing. You can test a web service manually or create your own automation code or use the automation tests. It is a good practice to test this logic with external calls, testing if the service is successfully exposed and if it returns what we expect, including status codes. Services testing in GeneXus. In GeneXus, services are developed using procedures, data providers, and business component objects exposed as web services. In particular, you can automate and run tests over REST services, enabling wide coverage of core business logic for web systems and mobile applications. Ideally, all objects exposed as REST should be tested with a REST test. Creating the first REST test. So, as an example, we have exposed as REST the procedure check balance for transfer presented before. Notice that this KB has integrated security enabled. Let's create a REST test by right-clicking over the procedure and selecting the option Create REST Test. Within a few seconds, you can see that a REST test is generated with a template that eases the creation and setup of the test. In this example, the authentication management is included in the REST test because the application has GAM security enabled. In the Prepare Client subroutine basic initialization for HTTP client and authentication, configuration is performed. Then when iterating through this data, an authentication token is obtained for the current user and password and included in the request when invoking the REST service. In this case, we included a test case with valid credentials and a test case with invalid credentials. Note that the expected status code field is used to validate against the actual status code returned by the service. We suggest to validate the different possibilities of status codes in your test. In this example, we tested 200 and 401 status codes. When we run the REST test, we can see in the test results window the results of the execution. They are similar to unit tests as they work based on assertions too. Remember to run the application with your service before running the test, otherwise it will fail. Note that we can test a procedure in different ways, internally and externally. For example, we could test different combinations through internal calls with unit tests and only some cases by external calls because it is slower and depends on the server status, requires the deployment of the services.